Hi, we are The Greatest Story Ever Played. My name's Dan.
My name's Jordan.
And today we're going to be talking about Oxenfree. This is a spoiler-filled review, so if you've not played this game, go play it or prepare to be fully spoiled. What we're going to do is we're going to kind of evaluate sort of the key decisions that come up through the game, maybe some moral ones, and say how we decided how we got there. Kind of thing, and then we'll kind of move on to more of a general review of maybe other thoughts that maybe didn't fit into those key decisions, and
so just some background on the game Oxenfree. So in Oxenfree, you play as Alex, a bright, rebellious girl who brings her new stepbrother Jonas to an overnight party on an old military island. The night takes a terrifying turn when you unwittingly open a ghostly gate spawned from the island's cryptic past. You'll explore a mysterious island filled with a huge variety of story paths that let you shape Alex's life, the fabric of time and space, and the fate of the forgotten ghostly creatures terrorizing you and your friends. That's a pretty good summary.
Yeah, and certainly what hooked us. We read that summary and we're like, all right, let's play it.
Sold.
So the studio, this is developed by Night School Studio, and the studio was founded by two guys, Adam Hines and Sean Krenkel. And Adam Hines was a story writer for The Wolf Among Us, so he used to work at Telltale Games, and then Sean worked in Disney's development division type thing. So I think cool seeing some of these old Telltale guys go and start their own companies.
Yeah.
Good story-based video gaming, and then they're doing it their own way. And Oxenfree's their first game, actually, so cool debut, as we'll go through, but I would buy another game from this company for sure.
I would too. You want to hit up characters?
Yeah. So our characters, like we said, Alex, she's the main character, and that's who we play as. Then we've got Ren, who's Alex's close friend. We've got Jonas, who's the new stepbrother. And then we've got Clarissa, who is our brother's ex. Nona, who's Clarissa's best friend. And then lastly, we've got Michael, who's our brother, we find out, and is deceased.
Also dead, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, so next up, we're going to talk about key decisions we made while playing through the game. So these aren't necessarily spelled out like in some other games you might have played, like Walking Dead Season 1 through 3, Wolf Among Us, some other things. So we kind of had to decide what we felt what were key.
Right, key moments in it.
Yeah, so the first one we saw was there's a point in the game where you have a choice to either stay on the beach and talk with Nona and Clarissa, or you can go into the cave with Jonas and seemingly Ren to explore this underwater cave of the island or something. So we actually decided to go into the cave. So this was kind of the first maybe major story division where we chose let's go in the cave, and that kind of set things down a certain path.
Right.
Whereas if we'd stayed on the beach, maybe we wouldn't have been involved in things that happen later.
Right. And the main reason I felt like we chose this is when we got into the island right away, Jonas seemed pretty cool. Ren was annoying, but he's our friend.
Yeah, supposed to be. Yeah.
But Clarissa was an asshole,
the whole time. Yeah.
Once we met her, she was just a jerk the whole way. And Nona seemed fine, but when it was kind of, okay, go with Ren and Jonas or hang out with these people, we decided to go with Ren and Jonas.
And a lot of things in this game, decisions we made, have to do with Clarissa being just a bitch. Yeah.
Right, yeah. From the beginning, the game starts with her. It's playing a game of, it's not truth or dare, but it's something more or less the same.
Yeah.
And so then she just bullies Alex, and instead of asking a question, just is basically like, "It's your fault, your brother died."
Yeah, and like, what?
Where is this coming from?
Yeah.
It was, so we were kind of like, screw her.
Yeah, if we have to choose who dies, she dies.
Right. Yeah. So we were kind of mad at her, and we're like, all right, well, we'll just stay away from her. Mm-hmm. So our next decision then comes about. So the crazy time warp stuff goes on.
Yep.
And we wake up with Jonas at a place that we were not in the cave. And our decision comes, do we go and find Ren, or do we go to Clarissa?
Yep. So it was not a hard decision.
Yeah, as you can imagine, we went to Ren, as Clarissa was a jerk. Clarissa has the added bonus on her side of saying she has a radio she thinks could maybe call off of the island so that we could get help. But we were like, let's get Ren and then go there. That was kind of our feel.
Yeah, because at this point, even just the one or two interactions we had with Clarissa in the beginning, It's like I'd much rather her be pissed at us than Ren be pissed at us. Like,
Right.
I don't care about a radio at all.
Right, yeah. It's like if we've got to go there at the end to leave, I'd rather get Ren first.
Yep.
Then I guess if that is the spot, go back for Ren or whatever, leave again.
Yeah, so I feel like our decision was based entirely on Clarissa being just shitty.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, so it's a good way to make decisions, I think.
Right.
Yeah, so next decision was, it was after we found Ren. I think, did we send him back to the tower?
This was...
Or was it on the way? No, this was on the way to find Ren.
On the way to Ren, yeah.
This is on the way to find Ren. We come across Nona, and she's kind of freaking out, like she doesn't believe we're real.
Right.
So we talked to her, and she kind of trusts us, but kind of not. So we have the decision to either, one, take her with us while we go get Ren, or two, send her back to the radio tower, which is where Jonas and I kind of
just were.
We like regrouped out after we got teleported after opening the ghost portal.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, she was definitely crazy. Like, it seemed like whatever happened in her time warp moving from, I guess, the beach.
Mm-hmm.
She seemed crazy when we met her.
Yeah, like, just frantic. Like, she also said she had met us, or talked to us before.
Yeah.
So there was some other version of Alex and Jonas, walking around somehow. So, that's kind of weird.
Yeah, so that was weird. After we do this, I think there's actually a bit of story that goes on here that was interesting, but we didn't have decisions because we find Ren.
Mm-hmm.
I think we find Clarissa, and she looks like she kills herself.
Yeah, she jumps out of a window.
Yeah, which was pretty crazy. That was shocking.
Yeah.
We had a lot of time jumps. There was a spot where we get stuck in a loop, where we walk by a tent with Jonas 4 or 5 times.
Yeah.
And as this is going, it keeps getting weirder and weirder, basically. So then our next kind of big decision is we all rendezvous back at that tower where we'd sent Nona, and we're given the decision, who do we want to take with us? Jonas, Ren, or Nona? And we went with Jonas.
Yep, because at this point we're, Jonas is our boy, so.
Right, and Jonas has been pretty helpful the whole way, whereas, Ren, it was his idea to go to town, but he, took a pot brownie recently.
Yeah, a second one. And
Yeah.
It's just high.
And,
You're not trustworthy.
yeah, and being kind of selfish and
Yeah.
not helpful and stuff like that. And Nona was just kind of around, I felt like, a lot. We talked with her some, but she didn't make any huge impressions, and so...
Yeah, which, again, that could have been due to the fact that we went to the cave originally, not stay on the beach.
Yeah, that's true.
Because maybe then we would have talked with her more and been better friends with her. So it's not a huge difference necessarily, but it definitely set up the characters in a way that we were immediately all right, Jonas is the dude, and Ren's all right, but Nona's cool, but we just didn't really see her much.
Right, we didn't interact with her a lot.
Yeah.
Maybe too if she would have stayed with us instead of leaving.
At the tower.
Yeah,
earlier.
So we took Jonas with us. That was good.
Yeah, which, again, Jonas is our boy, so.
Yeah.
Yep, did everything with him. I think the last big decision, and I guess, again, there's a fair amount of story between this decision and the 5th decision.
Right.
And a lot of crazy stuff happened. Clarissa came back and she wasn't actually dead.
Mm-hmm.
We had to
because she was at town.
Yeah, she was in the town on top of a light post, just chilling. We're like, what?
Her / the ghost taunting us again.
Yeah, because she was possessed at this point all the time.
Right.
You couldn't tell at certain points because she was acting normal, but you just kind of knew she was...
Right.
There's something off with her. So, the last decision was the ghost kind of gave us a choice. We could either stay on the island and all basically get possessed and cease to exist, so the ghost could come back into the real world, or we could trade Clarissa to them right now and they'd let us all go.
Right.
So we originally were like, screw Clarissa, she sucks, we'll trade her.
Right.
And I felt alright about that.
Right.
But then the game progresses and we're kind of in a spot where we kind of close the portal but get sucked in at the same time.
Right.
And we end up not trading Clarissa to them because I just couldn't go through with it, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that just how it went was strange.
Yeah.
How that worked, because it was a weird scene.
Yeah, it was kind of confusing what the consequences were.
Right. And how that went, but we didn't, and then the game wakes up, or we wake up on the boat leaving with all of us,
Yeah.
and the game ends, and then we actually stopped. We left. Jordan had to leave, and I came back downstairs, and the game, I didn't turn it off, and it says continue timeline, and I'm like, wait, what? This game can keep going?
Yeah.
So that was pretty crazy. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that at all going into the game.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I guess those are kind of our key decisions we saw this game having.
Yeah.
So,
I guess I want to say one more thing, too, that I remembered about the last decision where we decided to, like, trade Clarissa, then went back on it. We had a couple flashbacks with Clarissa, Alex, and Michael, which is Alex's brother and Clarissa's boyfriend at the time, and, like, whatever. So in these flashbacks, Clarissa was really nice.
yeah.
Michael really, really cared about her, and, like, we were, like, all interacting. It was cool. Seemed friendly.
Right.
So then I think we started to kind of feel bad, like, okay, maybe Michael dying messed with Clarissa's head. Now she's just a bitch. But
Right.
I think I know I felt like, oh, we can't just kill her because she's mean now, and she wasn't always mean.
Right, yeah. I think that did, I agree. Because I felt like we were, like, I guess we should trade her, but we maybe weren't, like, definitely trade her. By
Yeah.
the time it came along, because
Yeah.
I think we might have had one of the good Clarissa flashbacks before the decision, and then it came, and we're like, all right, we'll do it. But then we had a few more after that, and we're like, oh, maybe we shouldn't.
Yeah. I think you're right. Yeah. One wasn't enough, but like 3 were enough to
Right.
soften my cold heart.
Right. Then we're like, all right, fine, we won't do it. So this kind of heads us to the endings. I went and looked up all the variations of the endings. So what we'll kind of do is bring up each ending and then tell you which one we got in.
Yeah.
So the first one is Ren and Nona and how theirs can end. So variation 1 is that they end up dating. And variation 2 is that they do not end up together. And we ended up with them not together. There's a couple of moments where you can kind of tell Nona Ren likes her, and then they'll end up dating. But
Yeah,
we
which-
never did that.
It seemed kind of dumb in my opinion.
There
Like-
was some where it felt like you were like almost blasting Ren, and so we
Yeah.
didn't do them because of that. But maybe that would have
Been the
got them
thing.
together.
But also it was interesting. So you're stuck on an island with a ghost trying to kill you. Like, to me it was like, wow, who cares who's
Right.
dating who? So to me it was just kind of a useless even conversation to have. So I think I just was like, I'm gonna avoid it. Don't care.
Yeah, I didn't think it really mattered that much either.
Yeah. So yeah, but we had them not dating.
Right.
The endings with Clarissa's kind of story, there's 5 variations. So the first one is you can make up with Clarissa and like be friends again, or you can bring Michael back to life and she's still dating Clarissa,
Right.
or he's still dating Clarissa.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or you can sacrifice Clarissa, erasing her from the timeline, and nobody can remember her, which sounds super brutal.
Yeah. That's
Which
savage.
we almost did that.
Right.
Yeah. And then variation 4 is you make her hate you, but you don't erase her. And then variation 5, you can bring Michael back to life, but he broke up with Clarissa, and she hates you because of that.
Right.
So 2 of these, she doesn't hate you. We got variation 4, where Michael's dead and Clarissa hates us.
Yep. Yeah.
So, kind of bummer, but whatever. I
Yeah.
still don't like Clarissa.
No. Yeah. I think that playing it was like, I don't like her, but I don't want to
Erase her from
erase her from
existence.
existence. That
Yeah.
seemed harsh.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Next up with Michael, the 3 variations are: you bring him back and kept him and Clarissa together. You bring him back to life, but he's not dating Clarissa. Or variation 3, Michael's still dead. For ours, we didn't bring Michael back.
Didn't know you could.
Yeah, I don't know if I realized we could when we played. When at the end, when there were options saying there was other ones, I was like, he can come back? What? Like,
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I don't know.
I think a lot of it had, because a lot of the flashback dialogues we had with him, they were like technically flashbacks, but they were also like, they were literally transporting Alex back in time,
Right.
but she looked younger or whatever.
Yeah.
So a lot of the conversations she was having with Michael was about him like going away to school. So I think in the whatever, quote unquote real timeline of the story, she convinces him to stay, and he ends up dying.
I think the real timeline, what it is he decides to go, And you say, okay, but before you go, we should go swimming once.
Oh.
And that's when he dies.
Okay.
So we didn't, at least how I felt, and I don't know if this was how you felt, but when we were playing, I felt like I don't want to influence him in the past because I didn't quite understand what was wrong.
Yeah.
And so I didn't want to make things worse somehow. I mean, I guess he was dead, so maybe we should have been able to say something. But I didn't notice that at the time. I was like, I don't want to mess stuff up.
Yeah.
So I don't feel like we did anything strong with Michael. We were kind of like, do you?
Yep. Yep. Didn't push either way. So
Yeah.
Whatever you want, whatever.
Yeah, so that left Michael dead. So
Unfortunately.
Wah, wah.
Yeah. Wah, wah, wah. So last is Jonas. We had 4 variations here. Variation 1 was, I guess we didn't really explain. So Jonas is Alex's stepbrother.
Right.
You might have said that.
I think it was in the description.
Okay.
Right.
Oh yeah. So anyway, variation 1. You bond with Jonas, which is Alex's stepbrother, and Alex accepts Jonas as part of the family. Variation 2 is you bond with your new friend Jonas. Michael is back alive, and Jonas never becomes Alex's brother, but they're still close friends. Variation 3, you fail to bond with Jonas and never see each other again. With Michael alive, Alex and Jonas are not brothers. Variation 4 is you kept your stepbrother Jonas at a distance. So we ended up doing variation 1, where we bonded with Jonas and we accept him into the family.
Right.
Which I think was, based on what we knew, the best route we could go.
Right.
I think that, in hindsight, which I guess we can talk about the best endings we think, but that's probably the second best ending.
Yeah, I thought so. And definitely out of anything that happened in our playthrough, that was the best result we got. Like,
Yep, for sure.
Other things were messed up. Like, we didn't have great relationships with everyone. We had some with some. Like, I thought we were okay with Ren and stuff like that.
For the most part, yeah.
But, like the Jonas, that was good. Because we got there, and you don't really know each other because he's your, like, new stepbrother. And so, like, even at the beginning of the game, you can tell it's sort of awkward getting to know each other. It's like, oh, like, so.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like that. And so I thought we did that part of the ending. I thought we got.
Yeah, that was the happiest part of the endings, I feel like.
Yeah, is that at least we're like close now.
Yeah.
Which was good. Yeah, so that kind of covers the game at large, some of those key decisions or whatever, and the endings. So then we wanted to move on to more general thoughts just about the game.
Mm-hmm.
I guess one offhand is I'd never played an indie game before, even. This was my first one, and I really liked it. I thought it was cool. Like, when it started and how it looked and stuff like that, I wasn't sure if that would be a problem or you know how I'd feel about it. But instead, it was totally fine, and I really liked it.
Yeah, I agree. I've definitely played indie games before, but I honestly cannot remember what they're called at this point. But yeah, the graphics weren't like amazing by any means, but they were like really colorful,
right,
and fun, and the music was great. Like the feel of the game was, I think they really captured teenagers in late high school interacting in this situation, and it made it look cool and engaging. Yeah,
I thought so too. I really liked how the game looked. Like there's a part where you're underwater. That looks really cool. Or where you like walk by like a creek and you see your reflection in the creek. Or when the mirror can talk back to you. Like, there were a lot of spots where there's these just little parts that looked really cool, and I felt like with the graphics or like some of it being like quote unquote lesser, it didn't bother anything because everything else was so good and even made that stuff better. Like, I don't think I'd want to play this game looking different now because of how it looked and how it felt and everything. It was also correct, it felt like, so I don't know, they did a great job.
Yeah, I agree. And then this is maybe in that same category, but I really like the dialogue too. Like at first it was kind of hard to tell what was going on because the dialogue system was interesting. Like, there'd be like a thought bubble that went over their head or something, right? So you're like, it was kind of hard to get used to it, but once we did, like, I feel like the dialogue was really engaging and made me pay more attention to where characters were, what they were doing. Because you wouldn't just talk to someone and know what's kind of going on. You had to be around them. It wasn't as self-explanatory sometimes, which I kind of enjoyed. Yeah, I agree. I thought that was totally true, and that it was fast. Your meter was pretty quick. So there were definitely some, especially when we started the game, where someone would like ask us a question or make a statement, and then we just didn't say anything because we weren't quick enough. It's a fair amount of times. Yeah, which again I thought was cool. Like, that does happen in real life, but in some of the games like this, you have like an unlimited time frame.
And so I liked that this one was different than that.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, so one cool thing about this game as well is definitely linear and story-driven,
Right.
and choice-driven, whatever. But compared to other games we've played that are similar category, this one felt more open-worldy because you could, like, you weren't confined to, like, one room until you had to go to the next thing. You kind of could walk around this whole island.
Right.
And granted, the island wasn't full of all this stuff, but still you could do things kind of at your own pace. There was things that, like, collect.
Right.
And the scenery was cool. So it felt more free than other games I've played that are story-based like this.
Yeah, that's definitely true. Something I noticed on my second playthrough was that you can actually collect like photos and clues, and so I think there's like 8 or 10 of each scattered around the island. So if you were like a full completist and you wanted to enjoy the full open world, I think you could like find all the clues from Maggie Adler as to clues about the island just around it or whatever, which is pretty cool, like having that freedom, or even that freedom with the Ren or Clarissa decision, or we probably could have just gone to neither of them, just roamed around for a while before doing one, like,
Yeah.
which is cool that there's enough map in that versus like you'll never be at scene 2 until you finish scene 1 or whatever.
Yeah, so it was a nice twist
Yeah.
on the games we've traditionally played like this.
Right. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I guess one critique I had was, so there's these ghosts, and I think by the end of the game you know they're from this submarine that crashed or blew up, right?
Right.
But they don't really explicitly tell you that, do they? From what I remember, you can infer it and assume it.
Yeah, it was definitely understood for me in the second playthrough, but not
Okay.
in the first.
Okay.
Because I didn't understand exactly where the ghosts were from. Like, you kind of were like, oh, they're the ghosts.
Probably that.
Yeah, but it was sort of strange.
Okay.
The second time I thought it was more explicit, so I felt like it made more sense.
Yeah, so I guess that's one thing I would have liked. More background explanation. Like, are these ghosts? It sounds like they're ghosts, but also trapped in a different dimension.
Right.
It's like, and they use radios to communicate. It was really cool, but not thoroughly explained to my liking.
Yeah, not clear enough.
Yeah.
Easily enough, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I guess by the end you did, because at the end you're at the very end, you're in the water, right? With them.
Yeah, by a submarine in the background.
Right.
Yeah.
So finally, by the end, but it took quite a while of interacting with the ghost before you understood that.
And also, I would have liked a little bit about how they got where they were.
Oh, yeah.
Or where were they, you know? Because it sounded like they were in a different dimension, but I don't really know for sure.
Right.
Or they're not dead, but they are dead. So it's kind of confusing as to what they really were.
Right.
So that's pretty much my only critique.
Yeah, that's fair. I think that would be, probably a critique I might have of the game. But a lot of it, I just ended up really liking. And,
Yeah.
And too, that we got it on the PlayStation Store for like $5 or something.
Yeah, it's nice.
Super sale. So
Yeah.
even better. Like, the game was 100% worth $5, and regular price, that probably, after having played it, would still pay for that. Because, as I've said a few times, I replayed it. So over the
You replayed it like a couple of days after, right?
Yeah, I just finished it over the next week or whatever and played
Mhm.
it again. Since the game's not that long, it was only like, 4 hours or something. So
Yeah.
I replayed it again through the week, and it was cool. Like a lot of games like these, I don't know that they have tons of replay value.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you really love them, you would, but some of them, I'm sure it's kind of one and done.
Mm-hmm.
But this one, the replay value was super high, I thought. So some differences in my replay. Starting is that like time jumping stuff happens way sooner and way quicker. Like, it's weird right away. Almost like you get to the island, and then when you're with Jonas, starting to look like you time jump a lot quicker.
Which, yeah, that took, I don't know, midway through the first playthrough, or...
Yeah, it took a while for those to come up in the first one, but it was much faster in my second replay through. Also, there were items that weren't there in the second replay. So, like, the old-timey radio thing, it was in the cave when we were with Jonas.
Oh.
When I was with Jonas on my replay. So you, like, see it right away, which was crazy. So there was just multiple things that were weird like that. There was a point where there was a weird chair that was in the middle of the road, which didn't happen, and I sat in it, and then I got possessed. So I shouldn't have done that.
Nice going.
Yeah, I shouldn't have done that. But, so there was just a lot of different things that happened like that in the replay through that made it cool just in itself for the value, let alone getting different endings, but just like how it went. The dialogue options were a little different too. It was hard.
Cool.
I was meaner to Jonas on accident. Like the dialogue options weren't as many of the friendly ones that we did use when we played, and so sometimes I'd try to interact with them nicely, and then I'd just say something mean.
Yeah.
I'm like, I didn't want to say that. Like,
yeah. Oops.
Yeah. So that it was kind of funny, is that the dialogue changed a little bit, and there were lots of things that were like, we've done this before, or oh, Alex already did this. Like there would be things like that, which was interesting too.
Yeah, that's a cool like wrinkle in the second playthrough.
Yeah. I thought that was really cool. It wasn't just that, I'll get Clarissa this time instead of Ren. But instead you had these other little things.
Different gameplay.
Right, different gameplay. So for my replay through, Ren and Nona still don't end up dating. I didn't hook them up this time either.
Didn't care enough, yeah.
On this one, Clarissa gets erased from the timeline. I traded her.
You dick.
Yeah, I did it. And that was rough on the epilogue where Alex is telling us what happened. She's like, and Clarissa's gone, and no one ever remembered her, but I do.
Yeah, you're like, oh my god.
You're like, oh, ouch. That was rough. Michael was alive, though. And what was interesting with Michael being alive is, so you wake up on the boat going back, Clarissa's not there, but Michael is, which is cool.
Huh.
And then you find out that, oh, yeah, you and Michael saved the day. And so all the adventure you had with Jonas, you actually had with Michael. Because if Michael's alive, then that's who you would have been paired with, which was kind of interesting. And Jonas is like more self-deprecating. He's like, yeah, me and Ren were just scared the whole time, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so it's like, you almost, like, I kind of felt bad that I didn't actually bond with Jonas.
Yeah.
All that bonding actually happened with Michael.
Uh-huh.
Even though for me, like, I remember doing all of it with Jonas and thinking he was a cool guy.
Yeah.
At the end, it gives you an option, though, to, like, someone's like, oh, Jonas is a cool guy, and you can be like, no, he's more than a cool guy, or like, yeah, he's okay. And so I tried to be pretty positive, because I was cool. Like, I really liked him. Like, yeah. But it was sad that no one knows that he was cool, actually. And it turns out that Ren invited him. So since Michael's alive, Jonas is just a new guy at school, because obviously your parents didn't split up.
Yeah.
So Jonas was some new guy at school, and Ren invited him. So that's kind of a weird difference.
Interesting.
Also, that it does is you bonded with your new friend Jonas. So that was what I got for that. Since I was good to him before it switched, I guess you must have just done good things on the side. And then also, I ended up stopping them from going to the island, which was cool. So
how'd that work?
So the boat goes, it's back, and then time restarts again. And instead, before you get on the island, and you're at a convenience store with Jonas and Ren and you, and you're waiting for Ren's sister to come and buy you guys beer before you go. And you're waiting, and you're talking, and you end up pulling out your radio, and you hear a message of you saying, Alex, don't go to the island, stay away. And so you hear it, and you guys are like, what? And then you can kind of like, oh, that not a big deal, let's go anyway. Or, yeah, this is weird. And so we decided it was weird, and we left and went and got pizza or something. So I don't know what that means long term, though. So they avoided the island that time. My game still has continued timeline, so I think you can keep playing infinitely, maybe.
I guess you have to choose again. Yeah. So do you choose not to go, or do you choose to go?
Right.
That's probably where you start.
Yeah. So I'm thinking that maybe there's an infinite number of Alexes, and some are on the island trap, and some are not, maybe? I don't know.
I have no idea. Yeah, God.
I know. It was like, it gives you a midlife crisis or something.
Yeah, existential question.
Yeah.
Like, oh, man.
Yeah. Are you ever off the island?
Yeah.
Or something. So
did it even exist in the first place?
Right. So, I don't know. Thinking about that too much is probably not, I don't know, it was hard to do. But I thought that was a mostly good ending. It was different enough from our first playthrough, too, that I thought it was fun and worth going through. What do you think is, like, the best ending? So, what would be, like, the quote-unquote perfect ending?
Yeah, I guess the perfect ending would be, so for everyone to be happy, you'd have Ren and Nona dating.
Right.
Even though I don't think that's dumb. Whatever. Them dating. So Clarissa and Michael, I guess, still dating. So Clarissa's not erased from existence. She's alive and dating Michael because before Michael died, she seemed okay.
Right.
So I'd probably say them dating, which means Michael will have to be alive, so Michael's not dead.
Right.
Is another factor. And then I guess Variation 4 is probably where it gets most tricky, because when our first playthrough, we were close with Jonas, and then like you were saying,
right.
Your second playthrough you weren't, and Jonas was kind of sad, or it seemed you're like it was off. It seemed kind of off.
Yeah, I guess that it seemed like they still bonded with. You still bond with Jonas if you do all the stuff with him.
Mm-hmm.
At least in mine, like it seemed like it still said you bonded with your new friend Jonas. Like
Okay,
you're close.
so it's still good.
Yeah, so I think it's still good. I just felt sad personally.
Yeah.
That all the things that I did with Jonas actually were with Michael, and so it was like, sorry, Jonas.
Yeah,
which no one else knows that. Like, so I think he was still happy, but
Mm-hmm.
I think for me, I was like, oh, bummer.
Yeah, so I guess with that, it'd have to be Variation 2, where we still bond with Jonas. Michael's not dead, though.
Right.
And Jonas and Alex are never siblings.
Right.
That's probably the happiest of those endings.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right. I don't think that... Yeah, I don't know if there's one that everyone else being happy. That's probably the best.
Mm-hmm.
I guess the worst one, then, would be Ren and Nona don't date.
You
erase Clarissa, but Michael's still dead, and you hate Jonas.
Yeah, which we were halfway there.
So we were definitely in the middle.
It's crazy in this game. I feel like most games like this, you can't have just a pretty happy ending across the board.
Yeah.
There's probably some you can that I'm not aware of, but this one pretty much could have pretty good ending for every character involved.
Right.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I thought so too, and thought we ended up with a pretty... I felt like we got a good medium. Yeah, we didn't get the best ending, but I thought we got like a cool one.
Did not get the worst one.
Yeah, we didn't get the worst one either.
Yeah.
We didn't totally mess it up and like not bond with anyone.
Yeah, everyone's dead but us.
Yeah.
Well, it was not worth it.
Can I trade all of them?
Yeah.
So I can leave? I don't care about anyone.
Oh, we just need Clarissa. It's like, it's cool.
You can have them all.
Just take them all.
Let me leave.
Yeah.
God. Yeah, so I guess that probably wraps up our thoughts on Oxenfree, though.
Mm-hmm.
Overall, I thought it was a fun game.
Yeah.
Definitely recommend it. And I think I read recently that it was on sale on the Switch, too, for like $5. So
Oh, cool.
people who have Switches should buy it, too.
Oh, it's definitely worth $5.
Yeah,
for sure.
Totally worth it. But yeah, so that's Oxenfree. Next time, we're going to play Episode 1 of Life is Strange.
Mm-hmm.
Check that game out in the meantime. And we'll start on Episode 1 next time. If you have any thoughts on Oxenfree or maybe games you'd like us to do in the future or whatever, email us at TheGreatestStoryEverPlayed@gmail.com. And yeah, we'll talk to you next time.
Later.